we're off to a great start. Looking through this process, the year before I arrived, I think we had accomplished earning or fundraising $110,000. Last year was $257,000, and then certainly this year our goal of $300,000. So pretty audacious in terms of our aspirations, but I know we can achieve that based on the commitment from our alums and from our sponsors. So as Jill had mentioned, it's important that I recognize obviously those that have been generous up to this point and our sponsors. So again, Market & Johnson, McDonough Manufacturing, Judy Kruckman, who also has a matching gift for us, and then Chancellor Jim. You know, I think it's important that I mention him. Last year when we had the idea about his gift in terms of spearheading the Championships Fund, you know, again, to spearhead that and think about, as I was talking to the staff this morning as we were compiling some notes and thinking about this, is like we have roughly 90% of our student athletes or 90% of our teams, our varsity teams, will participate in a postseason experience. So when you start to think about that, this past week, obviously the Learfield numbers came out. We were 15th of 400-plus institutions. We're 15th in the country, which speaks to obviously all the coaches that are in the room, their hard work and dedication, and the student athletes. Fortunately for us, we have 4 student athletes with us today who are all Americans. I'd like to recognize them. From volleyball, Bailey Leak. You can stand and be recognized. Big round of applause for her. Tremendous season. Wrestling, obviously, I got an opportunity to know him pretty well through SAC and conversation. So, Ian Peppel, congratulations and well done from wrestling. Mason Shea from cross country and track. Obviously, great season, and we look forward to having a great season this year in the spring. So, Mason Shea. And the National Player of the Year in soccer, a footnote with that, not only the National Player of the Year, but obviously recognized as the top student athlete and soccer player in the country this year. And fortunately, I wish we had another year of him, but he had a tremendous career and a great season for us. So Nathan Donovan. So one of the things when we started to spearhead this idea about doing a little bit of the State of the Union with athletics, one of the things we work so hard throughout the course of the year that sometimes you don't have the opportunity to pause and reflect and look like all that has been accomplished up to this point. This is a time for us, obviously, to sit and reflect on that. I know we have a lot of season left: baseball, softball, lacrosse, track, so on and so forth, tennis, golf. I mean, we have a lot of exciting things to finish on. But up to this point, I think it's important to list some of the accomplishments, again, they're pretty profound. So we had 31 student athletes named all-district, 1 Judy Kruckman winner, 1 Max Spargo Scholar athlete, 2 national champs up to this point. Jared Stricker obviously repeated, so it's the first time in the history of the school that we have somebody in the wrestling program that repeat, which is pretty remarkable. And again, his accolades speak for themselves, top to bottom. We can go on and on about what he accomplished. Adam Strauff in indoor track had a great indoor season, and obviously we'll look to repeat in outdoors. For the teams, national representation, we had women's cross country, men's indoor track, women's indoor track, men's swim and dive, women's swim and dive, wrestling, gymnastics, men's cross country, men's hockey, men's soccer, and women's volleyball. All those student athletes got the opportunity to compete at the national level this year. So we're super proud of their representation and all that they accomplished. All-Americans, we had 22 up to this point. Men's basketball 1, indoor track we had 5, women's indoor track we had 9, men's cross country with 1, men's soccer obviously 1, men's swim and dive 2, volleyball 1, and wrestling 2. So when you start to think about a portfolio that we have athletically this year, that becomes just a kind of a normal thing for us to sit here and look. 22 All-Americans, where there's some institutions that we compete against that don't even have one. So for us to have 22, it's an applaud for our department and for the coaches as well. So big round of applause again for all of our coaches and our student athletes who accomplished that feat. 3 WIAC championships. We love championships here. Obviously, men's hockey, men's soccer, and men's swim and dive. So we're super proud of what they accomplished. We know there are many teams that were on the cusp of that as well, but to see them do that and raise the trophy at the conclusion of a season is always special. And the WIAC finals participant, men's hockey, men's soccer, women's hockey, were also a part of that. So again, WIAC players of the year, newcomers of the year, we had 7. Again, Brady Pulse from football, Nathan Donovan from men's soccer, Billa Hooker from women's cross country, Caitlin Erickson from volleyball, Ben Keller for men's swim, Blake Wallen from men's dive, and then Jared Stricker with wrestling. So again, when you start to think about the elite, we had 7 that were recognized as the best of the best in our conference, which again speaks to the caliber of student athletes that we're able to attract. And then rounding out up to this point, all conference recognition. So when you start to think about the number of student athletes that we have, roughly 900 student athletes, 128 of them accomplished all conference. So when you start to think about those numbers, 128 in a conference like ours is pretty remarkable. So we're extremely proud of what we've accomplished up to this point. Again, this list is pretty significant. And it wouldn't go without the hard work and dedication of our coaches and their sacrifice as well. Obviously, all of them are here today, and so we're really appreciative of all they do. As I mentioned, Chancellor Jim was instrumental in starting the Champions Fund a year ago and spearheading that and having a significant contribution to that. Fortunately for me, I'm in a position where I'll do the same this year, and I'll be donating $6,000 on behalf of the following people. My administrative team, so $1,000 in each of their names. So I'd like them to be recognized because they've done a tremendous job in our department, and I couldn't be prouder of how hard they work and what they do behind the scenes for our coaches and our student athletes. So we'll hold a round of applause to the end, but I want them to stand and be recognized. So Don Compte, Spencer Flayton, the fist pump, I like it, Nick Hoven, Amanda Hopkins, Claire Holman, and obviously my teammate, Robin Baker. So big round of applause for all of them. Thank you. Gives me great pleasure to recognize their efforts and what they do, and obviously to give to the Champions Fund. So we're really excited about that, and so thank you, the 6 of you. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. It means a lot. So, obviously I know this is telecasted a little bit to our donors. Let me say to our alum, the student athletes' families that continue to sacrifice and donate on behalf of their student athlete. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for all the hard work and dedication that you put us in a great position by your generosity. So again, as you start to think about that number, that's roughly $300 per student athlete when you start to break down those numbers, and that has quite the impact on what we're trying to accomplish here. And again, every athletic department that is successful and every athletic department is competitive, a lot of that is because you have a significant number of people outside of their department that are generous and give back at a high level. So we're really grateful for the hard work and dedication and the sacrifices that you make on behalf of our student athletes as well. Again, we take from $5 to our biggest donation means everything to us, and our staff takes full advantage of that. Again, we use all of our resources to the fullest. So I'm grateful for that. So I'll take a few questions, and then more importantly, I'll give time, for the media members that are here with our student athletes at the end, which I think is the most important, that we have 4 All-Americans who have taken time out of their day to come. So thank you very much for that again. So.
Hi there, Philip Chorzay, WEAU 13 News. $300,000 was the number that you threw out there as a figure. Just in terms of what that would go towards, if you have any sort of specifics of what you guys are targeting with those donations this year.
Yeah, I mean, each program has has their own little portfolio of what they want to emphasize and do, and utilize those funds for. Some of them could be wide range for their travel, to postseason experience, to continuing to hire part-time assistant coaches, focus on our assistant coach salary pool, travel, equipment, food, whatever that may be. But again, everything that's donated is certainly going to have a profound effect on the number one commodity for us, and that's the student athletes. Obviously, we have 4 in here who've had, a huge impact on our brand and have accomplished a lot. They're great students as well. But more importantly, we want their experience to be profound, so when they leave here, they feel compelled to donate back. That's what it comes down to. Can we provide enough of an experience that they feel compelled to want to donate back? And so for us, we're cultivating them as alum right now, right? So again, they're all going to be highly successful and accomplished in their own professional careers, and it's important for us to make sure that their experience is great while they're here. So,
Nick Tabbert, 18 News. Can you speak a little bit more to why you chose to open your own pocketbook and contribute this year?
Well, some of that is, yes. I mean, you can't move forward on something that you're passionate about and expecting others to do that if I'm not willing to do that myself, on a consistent basis. So every dollar that, the NCAA, for my role as NCAA Management Council Chair, that they give me, is going to go back to our institution. My hope is that it'll double next year. So next year, that's my goal, is that I'll be in a position to donate $12,000 on behalf of a number of people. Not this year is $6,000, and it's great. And I wanted to recognize our staff. It just so happens that was the number, and those 6 people. So next year I'll have to either find 12, or it'll be on behalf of my family. So
you talked about the impact that Chancellor Jim had on the athletics program. He was quite the supporter of UW-Eau Claire athletics. Can you kind of talk about the impact of him on the athletic department, and then obviously him leaving here at the university?
Yeah. Again, first and foremost, let me just say, Chancellor Mike Carney will be fantastic. He was the FAR for us, and before I talk about Chancellor Jim, but Chancellor Carney is somebody that has had a significant impact on athletics prior to becoming the chancellor, the new chancellor, if you will. So I'm excited about that, excited for our department. I know many of our coaches have great relationships with him, and so I'm excited certainly for that. He understands what the student-athlete experience should look like and the impact that athletics has on the brand and the institution as a whole. So I'm extremely grateful for that. He led the search and was part of the search when I took the position here, so I got to know him a little bit. So from a personal standpoint, I'm very at ease in that regard. In reference to Chancellor Smith, again, I share the story. I mean, how I got the opportunity to know this institution early on, besides competing, seeing it from a distance and competing and what have you as a coach or an athletic director, my previous institution, walking out of the NCAA building, side by side, Chancellor Smith through a rainstorm, him and I walking through and him talking about this institution, and that passion in that moment, that has never left. That has stuck with me. And so what he's done here has been transformative. His resume speaks for itself. Now, I've said this all along. the opportunities that people get typically that come to fruition are a byproduct of what they accomplished previously and the people they've surrounded themselves with. And obviously, again, the room that is in here, the talent that's in here now, some of it is a byproduct of his leadership, whether they stayed because of him or they came because of him in some ways, right? He was a conduit to that, even as a president, even though he wasn't necessarily the boss of athletics, but he really is, and he has a significant passion. A number of national championships during his time here, and obviously this building and many others that he's profoundly affected. So he will be greatly missed. But as a friend, I'm excited for him. When he called and told me, I think he might have assumed that my reaction was going to be disappointed, which it was for about 2 seconds. But as a friend, I'm excited for him in the new chapter of his life. And I will tell you, he's somebody that will continually check up on us and be impactful to the UW-EC community and athletics. There's no doubt in my mind. So, a little long-winded there. I apologize, but it had to. It was my boss still.
We're in an age of tightening budgets. I've read and watched, enrollment go down for public universities. Can you speak to some of the challenges maybe this university's athletic department is facing and how you're going to challenge or tackle those and maybe how this money can help?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I would say this: every institution in higher ed is impacted in some way, shape, or form, right? I mean, you see it at the highest level, and there's this assumption just because of the magnitude of dollars and NIL dollars that are going to specific student athletes and so on and so forth. So that garners a lot of the attention. For, the normal experience, Robin and I spend a significant amount of time, I would say weekly, whether that's a conversation of individual programs or individual coaches. I want to go to bed every night knowing that we're working to try to figure out a way to put them in the best position to be successful. I mean, we think about that ad nauseum. And when I say, I'm passionate about that, I am very passionate about that. Because, as I said, we have 4 student athletes here. I want them to leave and say, God, that was the best 4 years of my career or best 4 years of my athletic career. I'm so grateful that I made that decision to come there. At the same time, in order for that to happen, coaches have got to be equipped to be in a position to run the program how they see fit. And some of that takes, more dollars than what the budget allows. So this is an opportunity not only to kind of fill a hole, but the way I look at it is always an opportunity to enhance the experience. And I will say this, one thing that I was really impressed with in my time here, in my short time here, is our coaches are keenly aware of maximizing their resources, from people that they have in their program to the financial aspects as well. And so I'm grateful for that. And as a result, for me and Robin and the rest of our team, we're just it makes it easier to do our job because we're passionate about the fact of how can we get them more resources? How can we put them in a position that, they're equal to whoever we're playing, from facility to experience to, their coaching staffs, all of that is important to us. So,
speaking of resources, we're obviously in this rather new building here. Just in terms of the first year of the Sonnentag, how have you kind of seen that affect the athletic department as a whole and potentially the student athletes that are looking into coming to the university?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I said this, and when this building came up and we hired Zach and having conversations about the recruiting process with him, it's given us the best opportunity to expand our footprint. When people ask, are you worried that it's not on campus, so on and so forth? And I'll say this again, our campus is the city. That's how I look at this. We play at Carson for baseball and football. Our gymnastics situation is off. I mean, we're spread out throughout the entirety of the city. And if we compete at a high level, people come regardless of where it's at. And the biggest thing for us is, can we put a competitive program together. And then the other part is, we have talented people. So facilities is certainly an asset. And again, it's important. There is no doubt. And there's been people want to come and see this space, right? There's no doubt. But at the same time, the number one commodity that we have besides our student athletes is the talent in our coaches. And can they establish enough of a relationship in the recruiting process in their current roster that is going to attract the right student athletes here? And again, I think we're on, obviously I list all the accomplishments, 4 All-Americans here, but 22 All-Americans on the year, so many accomplishments. That's just the Blugold way, right? It really is. So, all right, one more.
If I could just
Yeah.
follow up on my last one, you mentioned being competitive with other schools. Do you feel right now that you are competitive and level with other programs?
The pause is because I want to make sure that I articulate this the right way. Yes, I'll say that in short form. At the same time, I do think there's another gear in this room. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe the talent in this room, the work ethic in this room, the strategic alignment from the top down who profoundly care about athletic success. And you need that. When people said, I got tons of text messages when they saw that Chancellor was leaving. So that typically has a domino effect, right? Who's the next leader, and are they going to invest in athletics in the same manner, whether it's emotionally or financially or whatever that case may be? The power of, and I say this, the power of the Blugold family, from alums to our student athletes to coaches and what have you, I do think there's another gear here. I do. I really feel like there's, it shouldn't be surprising that we're top 15 in the Learfield Cup. And if you look at the names that are associated with in that top 15 are pretty significant, accomplished academic and athletic institutions. And, again, the 4 that are here, I could tell you their academic resume. I could probably have them, and you'd be just as impressed of their academic ability as they are athletically. So we're shoulder to shoulder with some of the best in the country. And I feel like we can continue to stay in that position. And it shouldn't be surprising. But again, this week is a result of, continuing to move in that direction, right? 110, 257, 300, like those things have profound effect on results because they're resources that our coaches will use and we will as an athletic department. So in closing, again, thank you to our alums, our coaches, student athletes, Market and Johnson, Madonna Manufacturing, all those that have been profoundly helpful in this process, and onward to 300. No pressure to Jill Millis and her team and the rest of. I should recognize them, Scott and Jill. Thank you guys for all your hard work as well. So we're excited for the week. All right, thanks everybody.